the way we interact with people, even in the workplace or outside, we have female friends who, or female colleagues who, one, will find us attractive.
Sure.
And we are forced by circumstances to be in the same space with them.
True.
So what boundaries have each of you set for yourself such that a line is not crossed? And if ever a line was crossed, what did that lesson teach you? And because you have the mic.
I'll start with the lesson.
Release your wisdom.
Wow. I haven't had an incident like that, so far. But I think for us, when there's something that we learned called hedges. Like for a hedge, you have to maintain it. You can't, it's a brick wall or a stone wall you build and leave and go. But a hedge, you keep on coming. The plant whisperer will tell you that you have to come and trim it and do that. And a hedge is something that, for me and my wife, we've agreed to put. Like, if this lady is a hindrance, then that's a hedge. I will not put myself in a situation like that. Yes, in terms of work and stuff like that, that may come about because it's something it's unavoidable. But when that comes, you always remind yourself that this is the line. I can't cross this. That this is what I've decided. I have decided to be faithful, like what we were just discussing somehow off air. Off air. That I choose to be faithful. Not because I don't have the opportunity, but I choose to be faithful to my wife because I want to be faithful to her. And that happens. At work, you'll go, someone will look at you and wink at you, and maybe that morning umetoka home, ujatengenezewa breakfast and stuff like that, and you see,
it always happens that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That day when things are not okay, but then you need to remind yourself at the end of the day, who are you married to? One, two, you're faithful to your wife. Two, you're answerable to. Three, you're answerable to God. So if these are the principles that you follow, then there's a line that you can't cross. And for me, one is, for me and my wife, we've agreed that things like that, like if it's boys or girls, X. Because at the end of the day, that is something that will spoil us. That will something that will bring problems in our marriage. Then let's not go that way. Let's not I think that in terms of the workplace is entertaining that act, because that might happen. You might not be in a position to control that person from not doing it, but you can control what happens after, and that is entertaining that. So for me, I'll choose to not entertain that, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Peter, you've been in the game for a while.
Hey, which game?
Veteran.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
What is your experience, especially with single lady friends?
Yeah, it's interesting because times have changed, man. Honestly, times have really changed. We have ladies who are really out there, forthright, and they'll come on to you, and if you don't know what you are made of, then life becomes very difficult. For me, I know, first I'll talk about what really used to land me into problems. It's something I used to do, then I decided I can't do anymore. If I see a good looking lady and she's my friend, I'll compliment totally. You're looking good, your hair looks nice, you have nice shoes, and I see things vizuri. So I'll really put out that comment. So I realized that comment over time can be really misconstrued. So you find yourself in some awkward position, not because you wanted to, but because you've landed yourself over time. So for me, that is one of my defense mechanism. Just don't say anything. Yeah, and I know myself. Ukisema, it will go, hey, mdomo, we are talking, and you are wondering, how did we get here? How can we go back? Then it becomes very complicated. So for me, that's one of the things. Just don't compliment. I keep telling myself that for me, it's a constant reminder that as much as I have a wife at home, it does not mean that I carry her around everywhere. So I really have to tell myself over time, this is a constant thing. Whether you see someone you like or not, is a constant reminder that you can fall. Then the second thing, one fallacy I used to have is you think you're strong enough that you can't fall, or you think just because you are brought up as a Christian, or just because you are a Christian, and you're married, that you're immune to other ladies. Hey, shock on you, man. It's a fallacy like something else. It's a big fallacy. So I think it's very critical to be open to yourself, and you put it in your mind that it can actually happen to you. Think about everyone else who has ruined their marriages because of a lady outside the marriage, and that will actually happen to you if things are not put in place. And for me, what I decided also is to be very honest. Once things have happened, I think it's good to discuss it honestly, why it happened, the reasons why it happened, and how can you move from there to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because the thing is, I remember my best couple telling us before we got married, I never understood his statement. To date, it still bothers me. It was just before, I think a week or 2 weeks. You know him, Tony Gobanga.
Yes.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks to the wedding. So we're going to pick to check on our suits. So we sat down, we're having lunch. So he looks me in the eye and asks me, Peter, what would you do if you found me in bed with your wife? Mbaka, it was such I still remember, I lost taste of food. I almost told him, dude, what are you talking about? But anyway, his principle was that now after we discussed, he told me, relax, no, that's not what I'm planning. His principle was that if you cannot forgive anything in marriage, then don't get married. It was a tough statement. Yeah. Now I know, after time you realize, wow. It is so true. Because in between, and it could be anything. Still as much unfaithfulness, it could be about money, it could be about a friend, it could be many things, in-laws. But if you cannot forgive anything in marriage, then just don't get married. So I think it calls for you to be very open with your wife, because secrecy is where sin grows. The more you keep one thing, it leads to another. And I know most men relate. Every time you get into a place you've either fallen or sinned, when you look back, you can't tell how you got there. But if you were critical enough, it's because one small thing led to another small thing, another small thing. Then over time, it becomes a big thing. So for me, I've realized I really need to catch the small things, be very aware about where you are, and also be very aware about the type of women you like. Yeah, because if you don't know, and this lady knows that...
Yes.
Muhimu. The way if you love a Range Rover, and every time you sit on the road,
You look at it.
and in a Toyota, and you go like this, you're almost missing. Same thing with women. I think it's critical for you to know that, because if you're honest with yourself that way, by the time a lady is walking and fits the spec, already there are alarm bells. Otherwise, if there are no alarm bells, just another day. Just another day turns into a big day.
There's you knowing your spec. Does your wife know what your spec is?
Definitely. And it's funny enough, I'll say this without fear of contradiction. If she sees we've seen together, because she knows what... And it helps, by the way, because it frees you from hiding, because already she knows this one. So we joke about it and it passes. I think it helps, by the way. It really does help. That ajue. It's a hard discussion sometimes, depending on where you are with your wife. But it's hilarious also, because sometimes you'll catch her looking, so you're wondering, what are you looking for?
But the boundaries that you're saying that you set for yourself now personally, were all of them self-driven, or some of them from your wife's perspective? Like maybe your wife came and said, I think you should do this. I think you should stop complimenting people, like you're saying. Or I think if you see something good you like, take a 5-second glance and then achana nayo. Is it something that was self-driven, or was it circumstantial because of...
At 5 seconds, wow, boss. 5 seconds is mingi. No, actually, it's both. It's both self-driven and also circumstantial. Also, my wife coming into play, because we are married and we were talking about it. And like now, the issue of seeing the spec of a girl that fits my like, that is something we developed together, because we talked about it at some point, and some of them was because she would see where you are leaning to, when you go somewhere on yellow, nini. So it became a conversation. So that one sprouted from there. The issue of complimenting was both circumstantial and self-driven, and then just knowing yourself and understanding, kumbe, this thing began 20 days ago at this point. Yeah, and fun enough, you'll find a chick will not tell you, but the fact that for me it could be a compliment, for you something different, could be buying a gift. You know the guys who you just feel, X loves a pen. Then you go buy a pen and, hey, I got this pen, Shika. That one, for you was very innocent, by the way, very innocent, but something sprouts from there. So it was both circumstantial and some self-driven. Yeah, and circumstantial ones sometimes can be, what do I say? Can be painful, can be very painful, because that means your spouse is already wronged. And you also or you're also feeling bad about yourself. So it can be a very dicey situation to deal with. And how actually to come out of that situation.
Minor.
I would say Peter saying about the look. I mean, the first look, your eyes open. You'll see. But the second look is a choice. When you're saying you look and that's you 5 minutes window or something. So there's the first you've seen, you're driving, you're walking, you're sitting in a restaurant or wherever it is. But the fact taking a second look to get a better view is a choice you make. And you can make the choice not to take the second look. You know? And I think one thing I learned about boundaries, and my best man told me this. You create the boundaries before the event happens. It's not that management by crisis. That we're here, so is a boundary. You start looking for it. Corona imefika, so is always a boundary. You actually have, for yourself especially, you decide, I will do this, I will not do this. Before, as in you see worst case scenario. Because if you don't do that, you'll be caught what Peter says circumstantial. But in essence, it's because you didn't put any hedges like Sushi said. You should decide, I'll have this kind of interaction that with a lady who's not my wife, I will not have this kind of interaction. I will hang out at this point. I will tell my wife who I'm going to meet. Like for me, that works to my advantage. Like at Mekosana, I'll tell her, hi, I'm going so-and-so to meet so. Most the clients, I'll be here. She knows where I am.
Location.
You know, location, and I'll be like, Mefika, or I've left for home. You know, not for her to keep time at you told me you left 1 hour ago, where are you? But basically to her to know. I mean, Kipotea, she knows I was between Ruaka and bypass and home. So she don't start looking for me on Mombasa Road. And sadly, I mean, we feel that sense, for me, it's accountability. We feel like it's being controlled. But for me, I say, you know, there's one for control. And you tell someone, I am not telling you, as in the one, if someone demands every 5 minutes you update them, then there is an issue there of trust. And as trust, and I'd say also maybe security. But the one for inform you so you can know where I am and be accountable to you. FYI. Hey, I'm meeting the boys. I'm in Karen. I'm in Langata. I've gone to Kisumu. We've landed. So it's not for you to keep tabs on me, so you have like a logbook, like the ones, you know, the one for internship in college. You have to check every day. Or if your pilot who's flying, you have to log in your hours. No, but it's basically, you know what? And for me, I tell my spouse, this should be able be comfortable. Just you know where I am. You know? So I say boundaries, keep them. Like for me personally, there are people not hug. Yes. You know? Either no matter I'll be the first to stretch my hand quickly. And thanks for hugs, keep them short and formal. Not my back has no issue, so don't come give me a back massage. These are friends Leos in college. I mean, in college, you know, they put you to avoid. You have no back issues, but it's like they give you so it's no, you know, the people interacting with you. I mean, it's only my last job for like 3 years. That's the first place I worked where I had female colleagues. My industry, it's most men. So, Kumjengo, wherever it is. So I made it very clear. And my wife would come and I would make sure I introduce them and make sure I have a wife. And I would keep very healthy boundaries. So I say boundaries, they have to be in your mind beforehand. Otherwise, most times you'll find people who have zero boundaries or their eyes are set on you.
How are you in
dangerous? My wife always tells me men are clueless.
Sometimes,
you know? So, and
but the times we know.
Yes.
I think most of the time we know.
We know.
But they're the ones that are clueless, which I think are most dangerous.
Yeah.
There's a difference between knowing and acknowledging. So you know that that hug was not innocent.
Yes.
You just don't want to acknowledge it because one, it means your wife was right, maybe. Because maybe your wife highlighted it at some point. Then you don't want to acknowledge because it means that now this one I have to cut off.
Exactly, yeah.
And I want these hugs. These hugs. Simbaya sana. Like when I get to work and there's something I can look forward to. Before I do all my reports and I get this hug. So there's that acknowledging part that you don't want to acknowledge that to yourself first. Sometimes externally people might think, like you're saying, those boundaries ni kukaliwa umekaliwa. People don't know that sometimes we do it for ourselves. Like I say, 7 staki giza inipate nje for my own sake. Maybe mimi ni yule mtu nikiona giza club iko wapi. I need to find I know myself. So sometimes you set boundaries but externally it's seen like huyu jamaa amekaliwa. Kila time ako hapa lazima chat na wife. No, it's one, it's for myself. Two, to give her peace. Because that is what is important when you go back home. To know that, you know what, trust me this much to know even when I go out, I'm not at the, you know exactly what is happening. I might not be texting you all the time, but by the but I made a joke. No, not like that. But you know, yes. At imagine do you feel it is funny? No, not that type. But you know, I'm in a certain space with a certain number of people. You know everyone who is there. So even if your wife was insecure about Janet or whoever, you know Janet is there, but you also know Peter is there, and Peter is my boy. Peter will not let me fall or go beyond a certain boundary because Peter also knows my boundaries. That's true. And that's one of the conversations we need to have even as boys, that I know what your boundary is, the boundaries that you've set for yourself. That way I can keep you in check. And you know what, because sometimes we might not all be together, but one of us might be in a situation where I need my boy, or I'm not strong enough alone. So you have your boy tell Buddha, will some boundary yako ni one drink. That is your boundary. So keep it at the first drink. No, I'm not saying you, but you know what? Maybe you're a one drink person. You get to the second drink, something happens. So you need people around you who can check you and say, you know what, dude, uliniambia ukifika hapa, I don't let you. Even if you insist, I will not let you. So those are some of the conversations we need to have, even as men.
And it's true. That's very interesting because I think personally we struggle as men most of the time because we are not very honest with each other with that point actually. That I'm not honest with we are boys, yes, for sure. You're my friends. I got you. I'll do whatever I need to do for you. But I'm not honest with you to tell you, hey, François, enyewe, mimi nikifika hapa niko na shida. So I think that's where our accountability lacks. We are very good friends for sure. We'll invest together. We'll take care of our families, but we are not open enough to say, hey, look,
you're not
Mimi,
vulnerable enough.
Yes, exactly. We're not vulnerable enough to say, Mimi, there is this kachik who has really Sumbua. And nothing has happened at that time because you're still struggling with what is happening, how can I chomoka. But if you have a boy that you tell and he knows if you tell him, he'll either even come and yank you out of that place. But we are not gotten that open for us to be able to get that kind of accountability, which I think if a guy gets that, then we've started getting something correct.
But one thing I noticed, you notice people you have shared interests. You kind of get close. There is that emotional intimacy that develops. And sadly, that's how office relationships work. But you can't spend so much time together in the same space, same interest. And something we you assume that simply because I'm not physically attracted to this person, nothing can grow.
I mean, you guys are all there. I was in that situation. In campus, I lived with a lady in the same. I know. Yeah.